So today I'm going to talk about autistic animals, specifically my fur baby tiger. So I hope you'll enjoy it. So have you ever considered not only yourself if you have autism, I have autism, but animals can also be autistic too. Have you ever thought about that? I will be talking about my adorable cat, Tigra, and how I worked out she has autism. So, when she was a tiny kitten, she wouldn't stop walking backwards when she went on my headboard. This continued on until she turned 1. If I tried to take her off the headboard, she hissed and wanted to keep on walking backwards. Um, Another sign was when I got the CFND, functional neurological disorder, and became wheelchair bound April last year. She always felt settled, and if I were to move her off the wheelchair, she either growls nowadays and sulks in the bedroom on the bed. As soon as I am off my wheelchair onto the couch, where is she, you would guess? On my wheelchair. It can be a bit annoying when I need to go to the loo, but I realized after a while it is actually her safe spot. Just like I have a safe spot. But Autistic Paleo will talk about that for another episode, so stay tuned. She even smiles when I let her stay on the wheelchair and falls asleep so quickly. It's crazy. She can stay on my wheelchair all day. That's how much she feels safe. Another sign was when I got her a fish toy from a $2 shop. And she kept carrying it around like it was a pet. She even meowed at me. And my partner say, "Is that your fishy?" She responds with, "Mine." in a cat language. I can't really do it. But it's really adorable. I believe she actually thinks it's alive, but I would never tell her because it would definitely upset her. So my partner and I still do it to this day. If we were to hide her toy or put it away, she would get very upset and annoyed. Even so, we don't bother anymore. The last signal was that she has a routine in her mind, and if it is even too late or too early, she would keep meowing and climbing all over me in the bed, and it still happens to this day. She has a set breakfast and dinner time, even a toilet time, just like a human child. And I've even had people say she ain't a cat, she's a human child. Anyway, when her routine is done, she settles on my wheelchair once again. So that's a few points I wanted to point out to tell you about the fact that animals can be autistic as well as people. And I can give you another story of how I know she's autistic. So another sort of signal I've worked out was she gets very uptight if we shut the wardrobe. At first I thought she was just curious, but it's actually her safe spot as well. So basically we have to leave the wardrobe open, and I'm not a huge fan of leaving wardrobes open. But we have to do that, otherwise she gets really jumpy, claws at the door, and just very uptight. She won't settle for bed. But she has to go into it daily. I have no idea why. The funniest thing is, I can mention my safe spot is a wardrobe too. So whether she just like related to me as well before I even got her from the SPCA is crazy. But another sort of signal that she's autistic is she only likes certain food. Like, I don't know if you've got a cat that's fussy, but she gets very uptight if it's food she doesn't enjoy. So, for example, when she was a kitten, she got put on Purina 1, just like the organizations usually do. But the weirdest thing was when I tried to feed her it, she like cringed at it. She didn't want it. And she was like less than 6 weeks old, really tiny, like tiny. Yeah, I'm just doing an estimate. But she was tiny, tiny as. And she shrugged, she didn't want it. So I had to try a whole lot of different brands until I discovered she has specific taste to foods. Like at first I thought she was just a fussy cat like my past cat Mystic. But then it didn't add up. So what I did was I kept testing her out on brands. And in the end, yeah, it ended up being Hill's Science, which is super healthy. So I'm super happy about that. But the other thing I think that makes her autistic is she's really sensitive to things. Like she has stress incontinence. I don't know if you've heard of that. And she got bladder problems, and it ended up being very costly for us, but I'd do anything for my fur baby, just as everyone else would with their pets. And she loved it. She loved the stuff, and her bladder got better over time, and I was just really relieved because she got really, really sick. So I'm hypersensitive, as I said in like the texture episode, to a few things with the textures. And yeah, I just kind of pinpointed it all together and worked out, okay, my previous cat wasn't this bad. So yeah, she's hypersensitive just like her mum. Another sort of signal she does is she has like, I've recently let her outside, and she has like this really interesting pathway where she goes down the driveway and around the backyard. She never leaves. No, she never leaves the over the fence or anything. And it's not that she doesn't want to. She just she likes to be close to me. So she's got a bit of separation anxiety. She gets very, very uptight. But anyway, she has her little routine when I let her out. I let her out maybe like once a day because she tires herself out. She's a black tortoiseshell, and they are so hyperactive, and then they just burn out for hours on end. That's why she's always on the wheelchair after she burns out. But she sort of has like this little trail, and she goes through the bushes, and then she goes down to the carport, sits under the car when people come out because she's highly anxious and frightened. That's why I didn't really want to let her out, but she's a tortoiseshell, and I discovered they either like indoors or like outdoors, but I'm doing a bit of both, really, to keep her happy. And she goes around to the backyard. She gets into a bit of a hissy with the other cats because it's her territory. And she just does not stray from home. And I've never had a cat like that. And I started believing that could be a part of the autism in her too. Because I'm a bit like that too. I wouldn't stray from home like too far unless I had my partner with me or my cat. So I would get very uptight otherwise, but we're talking about Tigra, so got off topic, sorry about that. But yeah, that's just a few points I just wanted to point out. If anyone suspects the animal is autistic, there's a few signs I can give you. I even asked the vet as proof, and she said it is very possible. And she's got permanent stress incontinence, which sucks bad because you can't cure it as such, but she manages. So she has her days where she's really tired. And it just shows that she's just as sensitive as me to sort of sicknesses. So she's very linked. She's very well related with me, which is cool. Having an animal that's really, really on point with me. Because then she can understand how I feel as well every day. But right now she is on the wheelchair, glaring at me, because one thing I can tell you, another definite sign, because I have the same thing, but don't want to go into details about me, is that she can't stand loud noises. So, like, I'm talking on the podcast and she's sort of glaring hard at me right now. um, and I don't like loud noise, so that's how I worked it out. She runs so fast inside if she hears something loud outside when she's outside. And she starts shaking. She goes straight into the room on the bed and settles herself down. Or, yeah, she goes to her safe spot on the wheelchair. If I'm not on my wheelchair, otherwise she can't go on it. But yeah, loud noises, and it's even like the washing machine. We have to shut the door. She gets quite uptight, I noticed. When I'm on like live streams, gaming streams, she gets very uptight. But I try my best to settle her anxiety down. But I think it's sensory overload. And that's what that texture episode was about. It was about sensory overload, like one of the parts. But yeah, that's just a few signs I wanted to point out about autism and animals. So I can't really think of any more signs off the top of my head. There was one I wanted to point out, but I have gone brain blank. I will be editing this part out, don't worry. But I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I just wanted to make it short because it's a very short topic. Squawkoo, if you like it, please like, follow, and share. I'm on Spotify. Paleo Talks, same title, same spelling. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This very short episode, sorry. I'll have some short clips out so that you can have a bit of sneak peek into what I'm talking about. But I'm looking forward to seeing you next Friday, same time. Okay, bye.